Before we start with the video of today, a quick reminder to you that this weekend marked the 20-year anniversary of the September 11, 2001 attack at the World Trade Center in New York, the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and also a flight that crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, which is 80 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. Please join me now for a brief moment of silence to honor all the 9/11 victims and their families. Thank you, and we will never forget. Rest in peace. Welcome to TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida, the temporary relocation home of the New Orleans Saints, as Fox Sports welcomes you to this presentation of the NFL. The opening week of the 2021 NFL season continues here in Jacksonville. This is America's Game of the Week, and we have a great matchup coming your way to start this 2021 NFL season, as Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers are in town to play Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another season of the NFL on Fox. My name is Tamir Moore. So grateful to be back with another season with commentating with you, and hope it was a great summer for you, and welcome to the start of the 2021 NFL season. Sunday's game will be the 27th time that the Saints and Packers have played each other during the regular season and postseason, with the Packers leading the all-time series 17-9. New Orleans head coach Sean Payton has a 4-2 record lifetime versus Green Bay. For the Packers and the Saints, this is a huge matchup, a huge NFC matchup to start the season, and you definitely want to start on the right foot here in week one. Let's get into the notes, and you can see right here, I'm not sure you can see it, let me bring closer. These are the notes that I wrote during the course of the week. So we have stuff to talk about. Let's start with the obvious, right? For the New Orleans Saints. This is the first time in 16 years that Drew Brees will not be the opening day starter for the Saints. The new starter for the Saints is a man named Jameis Winston, who, if you're an NFC South fan, you are more than familiar with him from Jameis' time in Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston is a pretty good quarterback, but the one thing that fans might find annoying about Jameis is that he is prone to throw interceptions. Back in 2019 with Tampa Bay, Jameis Winston threw 30 touchdowns, but the one side effect was that he also threw 30 interceptions. And if the Saints want to make a deep playoff run this year, they need Jameis to take better care of the football. This is the first game of the Jameis Winston era, and you look at Jameis' lifetime numbers: 121 touchdowns, 88 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 86.9. But if you're a Saints fan, this is your first time to evaluate Jameis as the starter, and I can't wait to see what Jameis has in store. Jameis has worked hard throughout the course of the summer. Him and Taysom Hill were in the battle for the quarterback job, but Saints head coach Sean Payton chose Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston is starting quarterback for the Saints here to kick off the season. Now, the question that beckons for a lot of Saints fans is, who will Jameis Winston throw to? If you look at the Saints wide receiving core, Trey Smith may be the best answer. You look at Trey numbers last year: 34 receptions, 448 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Trey Smith is getting better and better with each passing year. But the one wide receiver that Jameis has found good chemistry with is with wide receiver Marquez. You saw in that Jaguar preseason game that Jameis and Marquez connected on a couple touchdowns. That's pretty good, because you definitely want to develop chemistry with wide receiver if you're a quarterback, because obviously wide receiver count for a good majority of your offense. So you definitely want the wide receiver to have an integral part of your offensive game plan. So it's good that Callaway and Winston have connections already, and hopefully that will continue and get even more regular and regulated and regimented during the regular season. Saints running back Alvin Kamara had 21 touchdowns a season ago. Alvin Kamara, 5th year now out of Tennessee. Alvin Kamara, what a great player he is for the Saints. He loves to run. The Saints love to run the football, and Alvin Kamara is the perfect person for that. The Saints are going to be going up against a Packers pass defense that was pretty okay last year, to put it mildly. Look at the Packers numbers from last year on the pass D. 99.1% rate, was his 13th last year, and yard per game is 7. If we take a look at Packer quarterback Jair Alexander, last year, Jair had a good season, right? He had a 68.3 rate. He had 13 pass deflections, and he had an interception last season for the Packers. Last season, the Packers finished with a record of 12-4. Last year, New Orleans finished with a record of 13-3. Both of these two teams were division champion from a season ago, so it's going to be nice to see how these two teams have improved during the offseason. Let's continue with the notes. Look at the Packers' pass rush. Their pass rush last year was pretty horrible, to be quite honest with you. 10th in sack, 28th as far as percentage goes, as far against the pass. They're bottom 10 last year in that category. But one bright player for the Packers is Darius Smith, who earlier in his career played for the Baltimore Ravens. Now he is here. Darius, he definitely bolstered the Packers D last year. Last year, Darius had 12.5 sack, 52 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, and 4 forced fumble. Most Packers defensive starters are back, which is good. You want continuity. Kind of reminds you of Tampa Bay, right? They were the first team since the Washington Redskins, who are now known, of course, as the Washington football team in 1992, to return all 22 starters from both sides of the ball from the Super Bowl year to the next year. Last year, the Saints were able to protect Drew Brees up front, the offensive line. 11th in sack last year. All 5 of the Saints' offensive line starters are back for this game. You look at Alvin Kamara as a runner last year. 932 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry. One of the Packers' struggles is against the run. You take a look at the offense of Green Bay. This was the bread and butter of the team last year. Defensively, the Packers were a little lethargic, but what was razor sharp was their offense, led by last season's MVP Aaron Rodgers, 48 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, quarterback rating of 121.5. He's a bad man, as Stephen A. liked to say. Last year, the Packers' offense was humming, almost 32 points per game. They were 5th in yards per game, and they were 1st in the red zone. So the Packers, they don't play around. Packers, they put up points on the board. And Green Bay, you know if Aaron Rodgers is leading you, you have a pretty good chance to win. A couple other notes about the Packers here before we move on. Davante Adams and Marquez Valdes-Scatling, a couple of their wide receivers, will once again be featured for the Packers this year. Davante Adams last year in 2020, 115 receptions, almost 1,400 yards, and 18 touchdowns. For Valdes-Scatling, 63 receptions, 690 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, this is a temporary relocation for the Saints. Normally, this game will be played at the Superdome, but because of the devastating impact from Hurricane Ida back on August the 29th, the game had to be moved here to Jacksonville. But the Saints are hoping that when they play their next home game, October 3rd against the Giants, they'll be able to go back to New Orleans. But also, let's send a prayer for all those impacted by Hurricane Ida. If you've been watching the news the last couple of weeks, the scenes are just absolutely petrifying and horrible. And we're praying that better days are ahead for New Orleans. You know that the Saints and New Orleans, the Pelicans, the NBA team in that city, they're going through a lot. We need our help. And we can pray and say that we're thinking of you. The Saints have a 19-35 all-time record in season opener. Following this game here in Jacksonville, the Saints will have 2 straight games on the road. Next week, the Saints will be at Carolina, an NFC South rival. Then the following week, in week 3, they'll be taking on the New England Patriots before coming back home to play the New York Giants. Meanwhile, for the Packers, next week on Monday Night Football in week 2, the Packers will entertain the host Detroit Lions. And then after that, the Packers have a week 3 Sunday Night Football game against the San Francisco 49ers. This is the second time that the Packers have opened their season here in Jacksonville, the last time being in 2016. The Packers are overall 3-1 here in Jacksonville, with both victories coming in the month of September. The Packers and Saints, this is the third time that these two teams have played in week 1. The Packers have won both previous meetings during the first week. The Packers won the last opening weekend meeting with the Saints 10 years ago, back in 2011. Packers won 42-34 when Aaron Rodgers threw for 300-plus yards and 3 touchdowns with a decent quarterback rating of 132.1. Entering this year, the Packers have the fourth highest strength of schedule and lead the league with 10 games versus playoff team from a year ago. So the Packers' schedule is very difficult. But if you think about it, as long as this offense continues to produce and the defense improves, I think the Packers have a pretty decent chance here of running for the gauntlet. When you have 10 playoff teams in your schedule from last year, that is very arduous and laborious, but the Packers know if you want to go to a Super Bowl, you have to play these teams, especially in the NFC. You look at their schedule this year, you say to yourself, who are some playoff teams from last year? The Rams, obviously, are on here. The Saints are on here as well, right? Playoff team from last year. The Rams, if I said the Rams before, I'm sorry. Seattle is another playoff team from last year. Pittsburgh is a playoff team from last year. Kansas City, Washington, Chicago, Cleveland is a playoff team from a year ago. Baltimore is another one from a season ago. And we can go on and on we go with that. But the fact of the matter is, though, the Green Bay Packers schedule is going to be a little bit turbulent, but I think Green Bay is going to be okay. Let's talk more about some of the key players for the New Orleans Saints. Let me flip my notes here. Let's talk about Alvin Kamara a little more. Alvin, who is a talented runner and receiver with a 5'10", 215-pound frame, he was selected by the Saints back in 2017 in the third round out of Tennessee. Since entering the league that year, Kamara ranked second in the NFL in total yards from scrimmage with 6,164. Only Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott has more in this period with 6,286. After signing a long-term contract extension at the eve of last season, Kamara even exceeds expectations as one of the most electric players in this league. In the Christmas Day game against Minnesota last year, when the Saints won 52-33, remember, Alvin Kamara had 6 touchdowns in that game. I was there, quote-unquote, to call it. It was nice to see that. And you look at the single-season touchdown leader for the Saints, Alvin Kamara eclipsed his own mark from 2018 in 2020 with 21 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara is definitely a very special young man, and I'm looking forward to Alvin Kamara and the season that he has in store for us this year. And let's talk about Quan Smith. We talked about Quan a little earlier here. He's a fourth-year player now from UCF, University of Central Florida, who recently joined the Big 12 along with BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. The 6'1", 210-pounder, emerged as one of the Knight's top weapons during his 3 years at UCF. So definitely Quan Smith the option. We know about Cameron Jordan. We know about Demario Davis. And you think about it in basic sermonization and summary, I'm looking forward to opening week. Packers and Saints, these two teams are so excited for week 1, and we're so excited for them as well. And we're excited to kick off this season with fans. Remember last year we didn't have a lot of fans. Packers and Saints met last year. Let's get this in real quick. Packers and Saints met week 3 last year. Green Bay won 37-30. Hopefully the Saints will find themselves on the other side of victory this time. Saints-Packers from Jacksonville at 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox. I'm Tamir Moore saying thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully, let's have a great 2021 season ahead. So long, everyone.